Sylvie of the multiple award-winning The Queen Sylvie Show. You want to expand and get noticed? Then come outside your box and into our world. Internet advertising has a real impact on global awareness and even sales, so let's make an impact together. Offering for a limited time advertising and sponsorship packages that excel your purpose. So contact Queen Sylvie or Smooth Tim for the exciting opportunities that awaits. Yeah. The Frida's Cleaning Service is a small family-owned business established in 2003. With over 17 years of professional, high-quality, and greatly satisfied service, the Frida's Cleaning Service will get the job done. Specializing in sanitizing your home, business, post-construction, and commercial cleaning, no job's too big or small. See for yourself and give us a call, 567-249-9172. La Frida's Cleaning Service. Our reputation is always spotless.
It used to be hard for this family to run and play in their yard. That big pooch left its business all over. Dad would spend his time cleaning up puppy messes. Now, I make sure the yard is clean so they can play without worry. Yes, there really is a poop fairy.
Do you have questions about buying or selling a home, not sure if you're qualified? Your local real estate agent, Antoinette Ware, is here for you. Do you live out of town, moving out of town, or looking for investment property? Well, let's work together and make it happen. Antoinette Ware can be reached at 419-917-6258. The name you know, celebrating over 20 years, serving Toledo and surrounding areas.
Hey, it is Smooth Tim, and thank you for spending another hump day with me on Tim's Tidbits as we can just get discussing all kinds of different things going on around the world. It's always an entertainment to look at what's going on in the world news, what's happening in the world around us, always some type of chaos or something or the other going on. We just must be like that. We just like some kind of chaos going on in our lives. I don't know what the heck's going on. But people, we need to settle it down. There's so much I was watching, we'll get into that a little bit later about the kids and their protesting. Still things going on over in the Middle East, with Israel and Gaza. And, they're trying to make some conditions on all that. But, either way, there needs to be concessions meeting halfway, get things done. It's the only way we can get things done, permanently done, is if you have both sides at least making a mutual agreement, not somebody making a dictatorial type agreement. Hey, let's get into it. Speaking of some crazy things going on, I ran across this about 18 months ago, actually. There's a gentleman that he kind of has a life passion, or makes it his life passion, rather, to let the public know what's going on in Area 51, the renowned Area 51 in Nevada. So it seems, though, that maybe he may have found too much information, or maybe they're just getting tired of him hanging around. I don't know what it may be. But anyhow, they decided to, make a massive raid on this guy's house and take all kinds of stuff, and nobody still knows why the hell they even did it in the first place.
Now, more than 16 months ago, teams of heavily armed federal agents kicked in the doors of 2 Nevada homes to serve search warrants that remain mysterious to this day.
Now, the homes are owned by a website creator who has spent years focusing on the world's most enigmatic military base, and that's Area 51. Chief Investigator George Knapp broke the story of the original raids and is here with an update.
You know, we'd like to tell you we know exactly why the search warrants were authorized and what the feds were seeking when they pulled their guns and kicked in doors way back in November 2022. But like everything else related to Area 51, the truth is elusive and murky.
And I hear this banging and a voice.
Retired software designer Jorg Arnu was barely awake in the early morning hours of November 3rd, 2022, when all hell broke loose at his home in tiny Rachel, Nevada. Not far from the outskirts of Area 51, the world's best-known secret base.
The door of my house, they kicked in, and I'm getting out of bed, and I'm faced with probably about 6 or 8 people in my little hallway with a riot shield, guns drawn, pointed at me, commands, turn around, hands against the wall, and before I knew it, I was in handcuffs, dragged out of my house.
Agents from the FBI and OSI, that's the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, spent hours poking through the home. They seized every computer, hard drive, and camera and barked questions at Arnu in an intense and lengthy interrogation.
I was never told what the raid was all about. I was not handed a search warrant until after everybody had left my house, after the whole thing was over. So I still don't know exactly what it is that they're holding against me.
The warrant was authorized by a federal judge, but nearly every one of its more than 40 pages was blacked out. What Arnu didn't know until later was that another team of agents had simultaneously raided his second home in Las Vegas. That door was also bashed in, guns were drawn, and his girlfriend was interrogated. Agents reportedly told the girlfriend that Arnu was a fugitive on the run somewhere, which is how they coaxed her into giving up the names of Arnu's friends and associates.
They must have exercised a lot of force.
Altogether, the busted doors, seized property, and legal fees have cost Arnu a bundle.
All in all, I'm about $32,000 in the hole.
More perplexing for Arnu is that 16 months later, the reason for the raids is still an enigma, like that secret base on the other side of the Tikaboo Valley. No charges have been filed, none of the seized property has been returned, and neither Arnu nor his attorney have been told what prompted more than 24 federal agents to take such dramatic action. The lawyer thinks they may never know, though it is almost certainly related to dreamlandresorts.com, the website Arnu created, a clearinghouse for all things related to the legendary Air Force Base at Groom Dry Lake.
I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm reporting on things that go on at Area 51 that can be observed from public land. I'm satisfying people's curiosity about Area 51.
Arnu says he's always been careful about what photos get published on his site. He says he does not cross the line by straying into restricted areas and would happily remove any image that goes too far. The agents who grilled him for hours would not tell him if a particular photo on his site showed something it shouldn't have. And whatever justification was given in the search warrant is blacked out for reasons of national security. He isn't the only party left in the dark. Since 2022, Nellis Air Force Base has been pummeled with media questions about the raid, but has declined comment for good reason. Internal emails obtained by the FOIA website The Black Vault show the Public Affairs Office at Nellis was not told about the search warrant in advance or why the action was taken. Arnu says any foreign spy who wants to see what goes on inside Area 51 could get clearer images from publicly available satellite platforms than from dreamlandresorts.com. He's made it clear to his audience that he won't be intimidated. The website now jokingly declares it's been endorsed by the FBI and OSI.
Isn't that sad, folks? So, yeah, I don't see how they can get away with that. Serving a warrant, they don't even hand you the search warrant for you. And search warrant's supposed to, detail some information of what these clowns are looking for, that kind of stuff. And apparently, yeah, wow. And it took that many agents, and they decided to simultaneously raid both of his properties. You wonder what the heck did he stumble across, or, what was he sniffing around that, they apparently didn't like. Who knows? I guess you could go to his website and see what kind of stuff is there and, conclude for yourself what they may have been worried about you finding out. One never knows. They'll keep that one a secret. What do they call that? You'll keep that in the gray area of everything, right? Anyhow, hey, sometimes we worry about, people racing up and down our street, being a nuisance, kid in the neighborhood, running outside your house, being a bit loud, that kind of stuff. But there's people, there's a whole community in California that is having more than just people speeding up and down the street or kids in their neighborhood type of problem. People in Pine Mountain Club seem to be having an issue with bears.
Tucked away within the Los Padres National Forest, the community of Pine Mountain Club, California, has always been surrounded by wildlife.
This one just doesn't even care that I'm here.
But now it's turned into what some here are calling an invasion. Black bears now out of the woods and crawling onto patios, somehow opening car doors.
Holy
even breaking into homes.
Get!
This one chased away by a non-lethal gun.
How would you describe the bear situation here?
Honestly, it's out of control.
Bear in the house!
Ian Sorry woke up once shocked as he spotted a bear opening his fridge.
Asked who was in the kitchen, and the bear replied with a lengthy, sturdy growl. I just hit that stun gun, and that electrified sound made the bear jump straight back out the window he came in.
Since last July, there have been over 560 bear-related incidents, already far higher than the 319 from the year before.
We're going on bear patrol?
We're going on bear patrol.
Stan Ensgo patrols the town nightly looking for bears. Within less than an hour,
There's a bear.
we saw 2 of them.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
His goal, to scare them away. Across the West, bears are wandering away from their natural habitats, infiltrating suburban towns, backyard pools, even grocery stores. Some experts say raging wildfires and drought have forced them to look for food elsewhere. In Pine Mountain Club, some blame the wildfires.
What are you doing? You get down. Get down.
Others see another culprit.
We've got a few residents who think it's their job to feed the bears, so they contribute to the problem. And we're working with the authorities to deal with that.
Now homeowners are doing whatever they can to keep bears from breaking in. Ian's property fortified with electrical wire.
I love our wildlife, but I also love my home and my family.
The problem so dire here that dozens of homes now boarded up like this one after bears barged through.
We are anticipating it getting much, much worse.
But this is your new reality.
This is our new reality.
A new reality, testing the limits of how people and bears can coexist.
Yeah, what do you think about that? That'd be an interesting intruder into your home. I wonder, yeah, because I seen both people. I noticed in the news coverage that both people had used like non-lethal weapons. The one guy has like a stun gun, the other dude had like a pellet gun or whatever it may have been. And I wonder what the laws are in California about shooting a bear, even though it's invading your home. Do you have like a stand your ground law for bear in your house? Yeah, it'd be interesting, but wow, what a predicament to be in. You got to take that type of security measures, to protect your own barricade yourself in so that the bears don't get it. But Pine Mountain's an interesting little place. I've been there before. They got like a little community. They got a golf course there and probably, I don't know, maybe up to 1,000 residences. And one little country store that's where the gas station is and the pizza shop and that kind of stuff. It's very nice, intimate little place. In fact, it's right on the San Andreas fault line, which makes it even more interesting. So, hey, you're on the San Andreas fault line, and you've got bear issues. Speaking, let's get out of California and go down to beautiful Georgia. And in Fulton County, Georgia, rather, they decided to do a hard dive, a really hard dive, shakedown, taking a look at what's going on inside the Fulton County Jail in Fulton County, Georgia. So check it out. And I mean, I am not surprised that they, this happened, having worked in, law enforcement, understanding how people try to convey in different type of things. They call it conveyance, by the way. Depends on, what you're conveying in is the level of the crime. But in any regards, wow, you wouldn't believe what they found. But it was a good coordinated effort, so I'll give the guys kudos. I mean, that's the way you need to do it. You need to surprise them and get them out of their cells and find what you can find.
New at 6, only Channel 2 Action News is taking you inside a raid of the Fulton County Jail. And this is just some of what strike teams confiscated. Things like drugs, cell phones, shanks, a makeshift hatchet, even a bullet. Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie has this exclusive story live from Northwest Atlanta. And Mark, the sheriff believes someone actually used drones to get stuff into the hands of inmates.
And the Fulton County Sheriff's Office says this is some of the contraband recovered in the massive shakedown we're on inside the Fulton County Jail. And a lot of the illegal cell phones, which can go for thousands inside the jail, drugs and tobacco recovered, came into the jail via illegal drone drops. Wait till you see the ingenuity involved, however misguided.
The assignment is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing we're going up here to do is a massive shakedown. We're looking for any weapons, drugs, or any contraband that the inmates are not supposed to have.
Sheriff Pat Labatt says the Fulton County Sheriff's Office jail strike team struck a vein of contraband quickly in the first zone they hit.
This is a cell phone and charger found within seconds of hitting this unit.
Yes. On the high security 7th floor of the Fulton County Jail.
This has been a high priority area for us with respect to drone activity.
And before Saturday morning was done, men and women normally assigned not just to the jail, but to the courthouse and across the sheriff's office, who had assembled in the early morning darkness, had amassed a massive amount of dangerous material inmates aren't supposed to have, but did. Lots of makeshift weapons, including shanks, even a makeshift hatchet, cell phones, even a bullet, suspected drugs. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office says all this from one shakedown. These are more than a half dozen suspected crack pipes?
Yes.
Taken from inside the jail?
Yep.
The Sheriff's Office says the shakedown turned up 22 illegal cell phones, suspected marijuana, tobacco, plenty of pills, even a bottle labeled as the prescription drug promethazine. And then there are the weapons.
I'm surprised the building's still standing.
Most of the weapons made from things stripped out of the building.
From the plumbing shafts to the lighting fixtures.
It smells like it.
We had watched as the stuff piled up in that one zone. Where'd those come from?
Cell 504.
So it's that commissary kiosk.
But what's it turned into?
The charging station.
This is marijuana from California. This is found in the cells. And that's marijuana?
Yes, sir. How did that drone get in the window? Through the inmates burning, they use, as you can see, the exposed wires up in the light fixtures, so they'll use that to start fires, and then they will just sit there until they can melt away the plastic. So the reason why now the inmates burn the holes inside of the windows is because they're using drones.
We told the story of drones in prisons, but drone drops are now a major factor in the contraband trade at the Fulton County Jail?
Absolutely. Some have crash landed, and ultimately with different types of payloads.
Ain't trial. 15 on right. I'm awaiting trial.
Innocent or guilty?
I'm innocent. I'm innocent.
Near the zone, we got shakedown reaction from one inmate.
We don't have no problems back here. These folks coming up here antagonizing it. We ain't got no problems up here.
The inmate we interviewed on camera earlier this morning, what'd you find in the cell he shares with somebody else?
We collected 2 cell phones out of that cell.
You know anything about a couple of cell phones?
No name about no contraband. No name about no contraband, no cell. I'm here awaiting trial.
That doesn't surprise me. He doesn't know jack shit. He's in there. He's in the 23 hours out of the day. The dude's inside the cell, and he don't know shit about no cell phones. I don't know nothing about nothing about nothing. But that's amazing, the amount of weapons these guys. Did you see all those weapons? I mean, and that's in a county jail. A county jail. Imagine what it's like in the state penitentiaries. Cell phones. Yeah, sure, they got cell phones in there. I'm sure they have weapons in there. And they were talking, what, $1,000 for, a cell phone? And think how that can be used. Oh, would you like to talk to your family rather than, the little bit of amount that they may give you here for, whatever particular privilege? And say, hey, $1,000. Now you're in debt. How you going to pay $1,000? Well, dang. There's ways of paying off debts in prison. Not all of them like you think. Behave yourself. But in any regards, wow. Speaking of a big wow, here's another thing I came across and I said, a big wow. A upstate New York DA, district attorney, decided that as a officer was behind her trying to pull her over for a traffic violation, she just give him the big screw you. I'm not pulling over. Ain't gonna happen. And so, I mean, it just ended up kind of escalating. Check this out and tell me.
Now to the upstate New York district attorney who is under scrutiny tonight after ignoring a traffic stop.
She's
the
trying
incident was
to
captured on
intimidate
police body camera
this
video.
officer.
DA Sandra
Use her
Dorley
position.
is seen having a tense exchange with a police officer. Local leaders are demanding an investigation and what the DA is saying tonight about that encounter. Here's ABC's Rena Roy.
Tonight, growing calls to investigate this New York State district attorney.
Get out of my house.
Stunning police body camera footage obtained by our affiliate WHAM showing Monroe County DA Sandra Dorley moments after authorities say she refused to pull over for a traffic stop last week, instead driving home. The officer following Dorley less than a mile to her garage, confronting her.
What is the reason you're so against what I'm doing? I'm doing my job. You say you're a DA?
I am the DA.
Okay.
Okay, let me get you my badge. I am the DA of Monroe County.
Dorley admitting she was speeding.
I was going 55 coming home from work.
55 and a 35.
I don't really care.
Claiming she did not hear the sirens and didn't stop because of other cars, appearing to use her position of power to intimidate the responding officer.
I understand the law better than you.
At one point, she even appears to call the police chief.
35, I'm Phil Throat.
To leave me alone.
Can you stay over here, ma'am? This is a traffic. This is a legal traffic stop.
Eventually telling the officer to write her a ticket.
I'm the one who prosecutes it, okay? Just go ahead and do it. Go ahead.
And ultimately apologizing.
You know what I've been dealing with all day? 3 murders in the city. And do you think I really care if I was going 20 miles over the speed limit?
In a statement, Dorley saying she pled guilty and had no intention of using her position to receive a benefit, adding nobody, including your district attorney, is above the law.
What a liar. She quit. I mean, right at the beginning, the officer had her, telling him get the fuck out of here. Do you know who I am? What is that bullshit? She was definitely trying to use her position of power to intimidate that officer out of, writing her a traffic citation. Big deal, traffic citation. When that's, that's just ridiculous. And people should be outraged in that community to think that, she has that attitude. You're 20 over. You're doing 55 and a 35. I don't care. Okay. Well, then if we vote you out of office, then you shouldn't care either, right? No problemo. Hey, earlier when we started out, I talked a little bit. I said, there's some stuff going on the college campuses. And some of it is turning violent, to where, they're actually breaking into buildings, defacing different areas of the universities in which the protests are taking place, or, some of this is happening by, people who are infiltrating actually to help perpetuate the chaos. And they may not necessarily be 100% on your side, but they try to look like you and talk like you, but their ideals of, the end results. The end results, I understand what some of these people are trying to communicate, where, they want people to divest in Israel. If you're investing in any type of a business, that has a direct effect on what's going on in Gaza, they want you to divest in it. Understand what they're trying to communicate. Just as, protests have been back for years and years and years for various causes, but we still all know that the best result is that we keep it civil. Once you start committing crimes, and there's individuals in there that cause that kind of a negative exposure to your event and or to your cause, well, there you go. Now you all of a sudden you got a black eye for what could be actually a very, very good cause. But then, hey, check out what's going on around the universities and think that we do need actually to throttle this stuff back. Oh, hang on a second.
We're following some breaking news from overnight. Just look at your screen. Things are getting heated on college campuses from coast to coast as protesters call for an end to the war in Gaza. Protesters taking over UCLA and Columbia University.
Cleo Green joins us this morning from our Breaking News Center with the latest developments, Cleo. And when you see these images, certainly shocking.
Yeah, the images are alarming. Mark Dia, the protests are growing and they're not peaceful by any means right now. Let's take a closer look at the video that we've been combing through overnight. At UCLA here, no officers could be seen during violent clashes between the pro-Palestinian encampment and counter-protesters, students attacking each other. Pro-Israeli demonstrators, they surrounded that pro-Palestinian encampment, spraying pepper spray and then some setting off fireworks. Multiple injuries have been reported, and we are working to find out just how many and how serious. Now, hours earlier at Columbia University in New York, police, they used a SWAT truck to get inside of a window and clear a room taken over by protesters for nearly 20 hours. Nearly 50 people were arrested, their hands zip-tied. Now, the decision for police to move in came at the request of Columbia University's president, who said the building occupation, the encampments here, and related disruptions pose a clear and present danger. This morning, the police commissioner sharing why these protests are taking a violent turn.
These once peaceful protests are being exploited by professional outside agitators.
Actually, yes, I believe that to be true, too. I don't think that the actual students that are, trying to host the event to communicate their thoughts, their beliefs to the administration of those various universities, I don't think they're necessarily the ones causing all that issue. I believe, you have outside agitators, and that's what they do. And, are they professional agitators being paid to be there? So it gives the whole event a bad name? Think about it. Who knows? Anyhow, I found this also kind of interesting is there's a professor, university professor, that has a little point process type program that he can utilize to try to predict, or I guess he's pretty good at predicting, actually. He has predicted 9 of the last 10 presidential elections. And some of them he calls a little early, or, hey, I think, and what did he say, in 2020, he called it almost like about a year early. But, hey, check this out and look at the point system, the evaluation system, rather than he might put onto how he decides who's going to win the presidential election.
We're following some breaking news from overnight. Just look at your screen. Things are getting heated on college campuses from coast to...
Actually, if you play the right video, that would be much more entertaining for the people, I believe. So let's do this. Here he goes.
All right, my next guest says, pay no attention to the new poll I'm about to reference, but it does show Donald Trump with a steady lead in a head-to-head rematch against President Biden, putting Trump at 49%, Biden at 43%. But my next guest goes as far as to say that you can co-sign that poll, and even the ones showing Trump losing, and just consign it to the flames. He insists Biden is still the man to beat in 2024. Just to tell you who I'm talking about, it's Professor Alan Lichtman, who's correctly predicted 9 of the last 10 elections. And the one he got wrong, 2000, he argues he actually got right, since Al Gore beat George W. Bush in the popular vote. So if not the polls, what's he using as his barometer? Well, Lichtman says we should follow his 13 keys to the White House. Now, they're all listed here for you, and they include things like incumbency and third-party candidates, the state of the economy, and, of course, social unrest. Now, if 6 or more go against the party in the White House, its candidate will lose. Fewer than 6, its candidate will win. So where do things stand right now? Let's bring in Alan Lichtman to talk all about it. Thank you so much for being here. Listen, you have not made your official prediction yet. I see the keys. But why do you think that Biden is in the driver's seat now when all these polls seem to say he should be worried?
Remember, all the polls told us that Hillary Clinton would win in 2016. I predicted Trump would win. In 1988, as late as May and June, George H.W. Bush was trailing his opponent, Mike Dukakis, by 18 percentage points. He went on to win handily. Polls are snapshots. They are abused as predictors. The keys are different because they tap into the structure of how elections really work, which is that they are votes up or down on the strength and performance of the White House party. Now, why does Biden have an advantage?
Yeah.
You know, we hear all this consternation. There should have been a younger candidate. But look at this. Biden wins the incumbency key, which you saw in your chart. He wins the contest key because he's not seriously opposed for the nomination. That means 6 more of my keys would have to fall to predict his defeat. Right now, he only loses 2. Party mandate based on House elections in 2022 and incumbent charisma because he's no Franklin Roosevelt. So 4 more keys would have to fall. And there are 4 shaky keys that I haven't called yet. And this is what your viewers should keep your eye on. Forget the pundits, forget the polls. Third party. Will RFK Jr. emerge as we get closer as a truly significant third party candidate? Social unrest, which we, now see emerging at campuses. Will that be sustained? We don't know. And of course, foreign failure and success, which depend upon what's going to happen in the Middle East and in Ukraine. All 4 would have to go against Biden to predict his defeat. That's possible, but not highly likely.
That's as interesting as it gets. So I guess, do you believe in the 13 keys? He had some very interesting thoughts about that, with social unrest, what's going on, foreign and domestically as far as unrest, things like, yeah, that does have a huge reflection on the incumbent, who's ever sitting in the White House behind the Resolute desk. Absolutely, because that's what the people say, you're to blame. You assume the role of president, you assume the responsibility for everything in this world that's going wrong. Kind of interesting. But, hey, one thing I always like to, I hope you enjoyed that, by the way. I hope that was a little bit informative. And maybe even if you have not yet made your decision about if you want a Biden or if you want Trump back into the White House, gives you some ideas of what you should be thinking about as you vote for each candidate. And that's not just necessarily president. That goes all the way down to who's running for mayor and whatever else you may have to vote for your school board. Who knows? Keep in mind what, their success, what their track record, and what their politics are. Anyhow, speaking of what their politics are, I always love to make fun of my favorite ex-president, Donnie. Check it out.
So among other things, Donald Trump also has a math problem. It is on top of his money problem, which includes needing a little-known insurance company to put up cash for him to make bond in that New York civil fraud judgment. It's, of course, on top of his myriad legal problems, which we're all familiar with by now, and those 88 felony charges spread across 4 criminal cases. But back to the math for a second. It's a pretty major one for the ex-president and Republican presidential nominee. And the latest example comes from the key must-win battleground state of Pennsylvania. Yesterday's presidential primary there delivered some eye-popping numbers sure to set off alarm bells deep inside at the highest levels of the Trump campaign. At least 156,000 Pennsylvania voters told Donald Trump, no, thank you, and voted for Nikki Haley yesterday, a candidate who suspended her campaign 7 weeks ago. Did we mention this happened yesterday? Keep in mind, the state was decided by just over 80,000 votes in the election in 2020. Now, what makes the result even more glaring and problematic for Trump is this wasn't one of those states where independents and Democrats could cross over to vote for Nikki Haley. That happened in some places. The Pennsylvania Republican primary is a closed primary, which means that the electorate, the people who chose Nikki Haley in those numbers, those were all registered Republicans in Pennsylvania. Uh-oh.
I am dark red.
Nothing worked, Donald. Nothing. You tried everything to delay the trial. You failed. Now Melania gets to be humiliated again. She hates you. Being reminded that you f***ed a porn star. Stormy said you sucked in bed. And then you paid to keep it secret. Embarrassing. Lied about it over and over. The truth came out. Now Judge Marchand has you on a leash. That's a good boy. Gagged. Do what you're told. He's had enough of your threats and your lies. Just like your wife. Alvin Bragg has your number, and the case is strong. More humiliation. You won't testify. You'd screw it up. You're going to lose. A loser. You're going to be convicted. A convict. And you're going to pay. If you had any money. The only president in history to face a criminal trial. Fred would be ashamed. Maybe you're not being persecuted. You did this to yourself. Maybe it's because you're a criminal.
It's been a year since I delivered this speech, and my wife Jill, who's with me tonight, was worried how I do. I told her, don't worry, just like riding a bike. She said, that's what I'm worried about. The 2024 election is in full swing. And yes, age is an issue. I'm a grown man running against a 6-year-old. Age is the only thing we have in common. My vice president actually endorses me.
Ouch.
To all my friends in the press and Fox News, some of you complain that I don't take enough of your questions. No comment. Of course, the New York Times issued a statement blasting me for, quote, active and effectively avoiding independent journalists. Hey, if that's what it takes to get the New York Times to say I'm active and effective, I'm for it. It's okay.
Well, all righty. There was a nice inspirational video for Donnie. Yeah, I can't wait. Should be interesting to see what happens in the conclusion of every damn thing else that is going on around in this man's world. Yeah, some of the different testimony so far has been pretty damning, you know, in his New York case. Be interesting to see if the one down in Georgia gets delayed, see how the Supreme Court decides to vote on immunity in regards to the president and how they're going to try to define that or write that out. That should be real interesting, and we will keep on top of that BS, because that's you got how many Trump-appointed judges in there? I'm not saying anything. I hate to accuse anybody of anything. Anyhow, hey, here, let's go to one of my favorite parts of the show, and that is our Asshole of the Week award. And I think that this particular video well defines what a asshole is. And sometimes we have to realize that a complete and utter asshole An annoyance doesn't have to necessarily be human. Wow. Now you know. Now you knew that had to piss somebody off. Gosh darn. I was looking at it, I was trying to figure out what is behind that doorbell. What kind of a bug or whatever is behind that doorbell that woodpecker's trying to get at. And a little into the video, though, the homeowner says, they tried to shoo it away and it just kept coming back. So you have to conclude, something's in there. Probably a little tasty bug, and that's what that woodpecker wanted. It was not going to stop. It was going to be persistent until it got what it wanted. Same thing that we should do is we should never stop and always be persistent until we get what we want. But as I said earlier, do it peacefully. And keep your eye out for the bad people that's going to give your cause, your idea, a bad name or a black eye. Don't let that happen. Anyhow, that pretty much wraps up the show. So one thing that I do want to leave you with, and I said, last week I was talking a little bit about it, and I'll talk about it again this week by saying I want to play a little video that always made me think when I was younger, and this happened back in the late 60s and the 70s. Again, I'll tell you, reiterate, the shootings at Kent State and some of the other protests that were going on, the marches, that Martin Luther King led down at Selma and every place else. There's always going to be resistance to a common cause, and like I said, it's easier to get by if we do it without violence. And I guess probably my hats go out to Dr. King on the way he handled a lot of those different things peacefully. Unfortunately, again, when it came down to the incident in Kent State, it really wasn't necessarily provoked. It just kind of happened. And I hope you're not there when it kind of happens. But be aware of your surroundings when it's going on. And so anyhow, a little video from Buffalo Springfield called For What It's Worth. Until next week, see you later, man.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds are getting so much resistance from behind. Time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and carrying signs. Mostly say hooray for our side. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Paranoia strikes deep into your life, it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man come and take you away. We better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. We better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going